as they come to the top of the stretch. C. Khaleesi goes up 2, and then it is on blood to the inside. Final furlong. Sentiero Italia, here's Lady Eli, and she ranges up alongside C. Khaleesi is third. It is Lady Eli. Sentiero Italia tries to dig in on the inside, but she's gonna do it. Lady Eli has won the Flower Bowl.
This is Saratoga track announcer Larry Colmus, and you're listening to the Paddock Pass on 104.5 The Team.
We are a week away from the Breeders' Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Paddock Pass. I am your host, Brian Mariano, and we will get you set today with all the pre-entered horses for all the big races for next Friday and Saturday's Breeders' Cup. We're going to be joined by TVG's Andrew Champagne. He's going to let us know who he likes next weekend and some of the interesting corks that we saw in the pre-entries yesterday for the Breeders' Cup. Thank you all for listening. Hit me up on Twitter at 1045Mariano. And a lot of interesting things I saw from the pre-entered races yesterday at Santa Anita Park is that we're going to have Aidan O'Brien's Found. He's entered both in the Breeders' Cup Turf and in the Breeders' Cup Classic, where both of these races are very tough, in my opinion. You got the Breeders' Cup Turf, where you have Chad Brown's Flintshire. You're going to have a lot of European horses coming over that are really going to make this an exciting race. I'm going to, my selections will be given next week. We'll break down everything next week. Pick 3s, pick 4s. Each of the big races will have you set here on the Paddock Pass. But this subject on its own, I'm really interested to see where Aidan O'Brien goes on Monday to choose which way he wants, because if Found ends up running in the Turf, he's going to run into Flintshire, he's going to run into a lot of those European horses, and some other, big names coming over from across the pond. But then if you jump into the Classic, you're jumping into the California Chromes, the Arrowgates, the Keen Ices, the Nyquist. A lot of this is a really deep field this year in the Breeders' Cup Classic. There are many out there, and I'm still on the fence whether I'm just going to go and say, listen, this is California's Chrome's race to lose, or is this just going to be where I can find the best value? Especially in pick 3s and pick 4s, where do you want to go in that race? We're still a week away from that. Again, we will have all your picks, and my selections will be up at 1045theteam.com. Now, I asked a lot, especially last week's episode, I asked Todd Schrupp if he thought that Chad Brown has already won the trainer's title because of the wonderful season he had. He won the spring meet at Belmont Park, won the summer meet at Saratoga. He's on his way to winning the fall meet at Belmont as well, which ends this Sunday. And it's really interesting to find out if Andrew Champagne feels the same way, because in my opinion, this is already locked up. This is done. There's no way that unless any trainer has 5-6 wins at this Breeders' Cup, that they're going to compare to what Chad has done this year. His Saratoga meet was unprecedented, setting a record for most wins, grade 1 wins. He's leading in earnings this year, and he has half the starts of 2 or 3 of the top trainers. So it's really hard to think of any other way besides capping it off with an Eclipse Award for top trainer for the Mechanicville native, Chad Brown. Hopefully we can grab him on the program at some point. Would love to have him on and see what he thinks about this wonderful year that he's had. Again, this is the Paddock Pass. Thank you for joining me. I'm your host, Brian Mariano. And let's take a look at another big race that's actually going to happen next Friday. And I'm also interested to see what Andrew Champagne says about this, because when you put up the two fields between the Distaff and the Classic, really, which race is better? Let's put it this way. You have the Distaff, where you have Stellar Wind, you have Beholder, and you have the undefeated Songbird. Now, most likely Songbird is going to be favored there, but where do you go? I mean, can you seriously single Songbird when you're playing any picks against those two horses? I mean, that's going to be an interesting... I'm really interested to see what Andrew Champagne says there, because I'm kind of afraid to really single in that race. Stellar Wind beat Beholder the last 2 times, and Songbird hasn't really been tested. We say that she was tested in the Coaching Club American Oaks, and then in the Alabama, she really just kind of ran away. So I'm interested to see how she does against these older horses and how she can take that next step forward after the wonderful year that she has had. And in the Classic, you have The top 3-year-old right now arguably is Arrogate after his wonderful win in the Travers. You have a Kentucky Derby winner, Nyquist. You have California Chrome. And a lot of these horses are coming in off really impressive wins. So where exactly do you go in this case? You mentioned Frosted as well, but Frosted looks so good in the Woodward, but I've never seen anything like that with Joel Rosario, where he kind of just held the horse back, it looked like. So the question for him is always going to be the 1.25 miles. He's very good in the mile, as we've seen for his Met Mile performance, but where do we go from there? So many questions in both of these races. We'll ask Andrew Champagne what he thinks. As we break this down, though, this is turning out to be one of the best Breeders' Cups we're going to run into. All of these races are going to be very, very competitive because you have storylines all around. Songbird being undefeated. California Chrome, the top horse in North America. Will he face Found in that race? Which way will Aidan O'Brien go? So there's a lot of questions that are going to be involved here that we'll find out hopefully on Monday when they draw the post positions, because it all depends on which way Aidan O'Brien goes with Found. He wins the Breeders' Cup Turf last year. No flinch here in it last year, but and when you look at it, it'll honestly come down to those two, in my opinion. We'll see what Andrew Champagne thinks, but it's going to come down to Flinchier and Found if they both run in that race. And Flinchier had a tough race his last time out, didn't like the yielding going, and I think he's going to have a firm turf course to run in next week. It all looks that way. But you have to be rooting for Chad Brown in this race because he's going to send all he's got with Flinchier and Money Multiplier, which anytime you watch any of Flinchier's races, you saw Money Multiplier close. So in the turf, if Found does run, I'll have to go 3 deep. I'll have to go Flinchier, Found, and Money Multiplier because I would hate to get beat by the other Chad Brown entry if that were the case. Another great race I'm looking at is actually going to be the Filly and Mare Turf, which we mentioned with Todd last week was the return of Lady Eli to the Breeders' Cup because she won 2 years ago, battled laminitis, came back, first start at Saratoga, was very good even though she ran second, then was very impressive at Belmont Park in her last start. So we need to look at, is she by far the favorite in that race? That's one of the questions I'm going to ask Andrew Champagne. In my opinion, she is. I don't see anybody else coming at her if she runs the same race she normally does. And that would, in my opinion, say that Chad Brown has 2 of the best turf horses in training right now. Between Lady Eli and Flinchier, he has 2 of the best horses running, and I don't think there's really a question about that. I would be surprised if I don't see Lady Eli in the winner's circle next week. Obviously, we have a week away to go. We'll see how the workouts come out and how the post position draws are. But another interesting one, I'm going to touch on this before we get to Andrew because I can see the phone lines are starting to light up. So we'll see before I jump to him, where exactly are we going to go with the actual sprint? The Breeders' Cup Sprint is actually one of the races I'm really interested to see where the Breeders' Cup Sprint goes here. You have AP Indian, who won at Saratoga, has a very impressive resume so far this year. You have Lord Nelson, who has not lost so far this year and has been based out of California, so that's his home track. That's going to be really interesting because Dre Fong's probably going to be on the lead for Bob Baffert. And what are the tactics going to be with these other horses? Do you sit right off? Do you hope for a hot pace, sit a little further back like Lord Nelson most likely will? That race has a lot of different tactics to it. That's going to be an interesting race. I do think those are the 3 horses to beat. If Dre Fong gets an early lead and can sit, decent fractions, then I think he'll be tough to beat. But AP Indian might be my pick because I was very impressed with the way he ran at Saratoga. 1045 The Team and 1045theteam.com. Happy to be joined on the phone by TVG's Andrew Champagne. Andrew, now it's snowing here in upstate New York, but we're all ready for Breeders' Cup. You're out there. You're getting all the info. What's new out there for Breeders' Cup? We're only a week away.
Well, Thursday was a very big morning for Breeders' Cup preparations. A number of trainers changed workout schedules in order to get horses' workouts in before potential rain fell on Thursday night into Friday morning. That's the forecast. And as such, there were a number of big-name workouts that happened this morning, most notably California Chrome went 6 furlongs and 112-1 at Los Alamitos, and he could not have worked any easier, Brian. Deja Gladney, the rider, was eased up. He was pretty much standing up in the saddle. California Chrome had his ears pricked, was not asked for his best at any point. It was a phenomenal workout. Songbird worked this morning at Santa Anita, earned a rare breezing designation, going 5 furlongs and 101. Beholder also worked, went 6 furlongs and 114 and change, and to be blunt, I was not impressed with that workout. Richard Mandella doesn't work his horses very fast, so the time wasn't necessarily a red flag, but Gary Stevens was scrubbing a little bit on Beholder, and given how slow that work was, that's a red flag, because a horse of Beholder's ability and class level shouldn't have to work so hard to go 6 furlongs and 114. Beholder had to work a little bit this morning, and to me, that's a big concern. Also, Nyquist worked 7 furlongs this morning, did so in 127 and change. A little bit weird because Rallis's workmate broke off about a dozen lengths in front of the Derby winner. Nyquist, though, managed to get his head in front of the wire.
Wow, Andrew, that's huge there, hearing stuff about Beholder, because she's definitely being looked at as for a bounce-back performance after her last few starts, and that I'll get to that. Well, actually, we'll mention it right now. When we mentioned the Classic and the Distaff, both of them are full of great names. You get California Chrome, Arrogate, and all those in the Classic. Then you get Beholder, Stellar Wind, and Songbird. Does this really set up to be Songbird's race now after what you saw earlier this morning by Beholder?
Well, it depends on what you think about Stellar Wind, and we haven't seen Stellar Wind's final work. I believe that's coming either Friday or Saturday. Stellar Wind figures to be the primary opposition for Songbird. Of course, Stellar Wind has beaten Beholder on back-to-back occasions, both times on the square. Having said that, I was extremely impressed with the way Songbird went this morning. It was another instance where the rider was not asking Songbird for anything remotely close to her best. I think she's ready to fire a big-time shot, and I think the tote board is going to tell you a pretty big story, because for as good as Beholder is, for as good as Stellar Wind is, there are books that have future bets for the Breeders' Cup Distaff that have Songbird at less than even money.
Oh, man. We're talking to TVG's Andrew Champagne. You can follow him on Twitter at Andrew Champagne. Now, Andrew, the pre-entries are out. And there's a few that are entered in multiple spots. The one that really piqued my interest was Aidan O'Brien's Found. He's entered both first for the Classic and second for the Turf. Where do you see him going, and does this really surprise you at all?
No, it doesn't surprise me. I realize I'm answering your question a little bit backwards, but I promise I'll get to the other point. European trainers do this from time to time when they have a number of horses that they're sending over for the Breeders' Cup, sometimes in the same division. It's up to the trainer to make the decision as to whether to keep them together or to keep them apart and potentially win multiple races. The best example of this was in 2001. Saeed bin Surur, the trainer for Godolphin at that point, who still does train over in Dubai, always has big meets over at the Carnival at Meydan. He had 2 horses. He had Fantastic Light and he had Saki. The wisdom was that they were both going to go in the Turf. However, he pointed Saki to the Breeders' Cup Classic. As it turned out, Fantastic Light was loaded, won the Breeders' Cup Turf, and Saki came up just a head short of Tiznow in the infamous Tiznow Wins It for America race, that fantastic call by Tom Durkin. Now, with regard to Found and Highland Reel, Found, of course, won the Breeders' Cup Turf last year, beat a phenomenal horse by the name of Golden Horn, who won the Arc de Triomphe. This time, Found, it appears, is going to the Breeders' Cup Classic, and my theory on that is that could mean Highland Reel is absolutely loaded. Highland Reel's lone American start came in the Grade 1 Secretariat last year. It was Highland Reel's lone start with Lasix, and he jogged. He won by 6 or 7 lengths with his ears pricked. Granted, the turf course at Arlington Park that day was a little bit of a bog, but Highland Reel is an extremely classy horse. This is a Group 1 winner, won in Hong Kong, and defeated a horse by the name of Flincher, who I know we're going to talk about a little bit later. Granted, Flincher loves firm turf, and he's going to get that at Santa Anita, but I think what this situation proves more than anything else is if Found goes in the Classic, you need to use Highland Reel.
Oh, great insight there, Andrew. Now, I asked your partner, Todd Schrupp, last week, and I'm going to ask for this from you as well. A local guy, Chad Brown, has had an amazing year, winning the Saratoga meet, on his way to winning the Belmont Fall meet as well. Has he already locked up that Eclipse Award for top trainer?
I don't think he has it locked up. I think he has a considerable lead, but I think there are a number of trainers that could potentially catch him with big days in the Breeders' Cup. Obviously, the year-long Eclipse Awards are supposed to represent body of work, but I think it hurts Chad Brown a little bit. Did not win a Triple Crown race, did not win any of the major races that a casual racing fan would consider. Now, Chad Brown has a big chance to do that at the Breeders' Cup. He's got Flincher, he's got Lady Eli, he's got Practical Joke, he's got C. Khaleesi, and he's got a number of other very good horses. If he wins one or two Breeders' Cup races, it's probably his. However, Bob Baffert is sitting on a number of loaded guns, or so it appears, at Santa Anita. He's got horses like Arrogate, Dreyfont, Lord Nelson, a couple of others. And if Bob Baffert has one of his Bob Baffert stretches where he wins 3 or 4 Breeders' Cup races, I think there's a conversation that's going to be had. Is Chad Brown the leader right now? Yes. Is that distance a pretty substantial distance? Yes. Is it insurmountable? I don't think so.
Interesting, Andrew. Interesting. I like it. Now, let's jump to the turf, what we were talking about before. And trainer Chad Brown has Flincher, and he's coming off that disappointing last start at Belmont Park. If you believe Found is going to the Classic, is Flincher now the favorite in the turf?
Yes, he's going to be the favorite in the turf. Right now, bookmakers have him at about 3-2 or so, which, if you consider his early season form, if he runs back to some of those races, that's an absolute gift. Having said that, he is going to run up against Highland Real, who's going to give him all he can handle, at least I think. What works in Flincher's favor is he's going to get a very firm turf course at Santa Anita, not just because of the weather at Santa Anita, but because it is a brand-new turf course that was just installed this summer. The grass has just taken root. The turf course, by the way, has gotten rave reviews. It's a beautiful-looking turf course. You might as well want to go out there and hit 7 or 8 irons off of it. That's how good it looks. But having said that, it's an extremely firm turf course, and that should play into Flincher's hands. I think a bounce-back effort is in the cards. Is it good enough to beat Highland Real? I don't know. In my multi-race exotics wagers, chances are I'll be going too deep.
Talking to TVG's Andrew Champagne. You can follow him on Twitter at Andrew Champagne. Now, staying on the Chad Brown train, because we got to stay local, Andrew, you know that. Lady Eli was very impressive in her last start at Belmont Park, coming off the really impressive run at Saratoga, I thought, running second. Is she a single in the filly and mare turf?
I don't think she's a single. I do think she is the horse to beat. I think it helps that a couple of the European runners that may have given her a run aren't necessarily coming over. Earlier in the year, I was a big fan of Minding, who's another Aidan O'Brien trainee. Mm-hmm. Minding has won 7 Group 1 races. She is not coming over. That's a big help for Lady Eli. The question for Lady Eli, the 1.25 mile distance, especially going up against older horses at Santa Anita from both coasts, as well as a couple of horses coming over from Europe. I don't think she's a single. We obviously know how talented she is, and she won big at Santa Anita a couple of years ago. I think she's a horse you need to use, but singling on Breeders' Cup Day, that's a very dangerous tactic, and I'm not necessarily sure I'm prepared to do that yet.
Well, now, Andrew, we'll go back to last year, because I did have one single on the card last year, and that was actually Run Happy in the sprint. Now, this year, going to the mile, are you really, I guess, what's the way I'm trying to say this? Are you concerned over the 2 turns for Run Happy or not?
All caps, bold, underlined, yes. I don't think this is what Run Happy wants to do. If it was a 6 furlong or a 7 furlong race, I think Run Happy would be extremely difficult. He's going to be going a mile, and he's going to be doing it against Dortmund, who I think is the best bet of Breeders' Cup weekend, especially the way he has been training. If you look at Dortmund's record, the horses that win the races he loses are California Chrome and American Pharoah. That's it. That's it, and that's all. Dortmund is an exceptionally classy horse. His only shortcoming is he doesn't necessarily want to go 1.25 miles. Mm-hmm. The connections realize that, and as such, he's going in the dirt mile, which I think is exactly what he wants to do. I think Dortmund is an exceptionally talented horse. I think he's going to be extremely difficult to beat. In fact, if the Breeders' Cup was held tomorrow, as mentioned, he would probably be my best bet over the likes of California Chrome, Songbird, and Flincher.
So now, Andrew, let's look a little bit to as a whole for the weekend. Can you find one race that you just can't seem to find a winner in? Is there one race you feel that if you can go all in that race, you must?
The Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. There isn't a standout in that division, and to make things even more complicated, It's being run on that unique downhill turf course that Santa Anita has. If you're not familiar with the downhill turf course, they go down the hill, they take a right turn, yes, a right turn. They go down another smaller hill, they cross over the dirt course, and then they sprint 3/16 of a mile to the wire. It's a unique route of ground. It's something that horses either like or they don't like, with very little middle ground. And with a lot of shippers coming in, a lot of times you want to look to horses that have run well on that downhill surface before. Other things tend to take a little bit of a back seat, and sometimes you can catch a price on a horse that likes the downhill turf course. Misdirection, for instance, was 20-1 on the morning line a couple of years ago. Some savvy bettors saw that she was undefeated coming down the hill, went off at 8-1, and won the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. This year, there isn't a standout horse on the West Coast going down the hill. I think you need to go as deep as you possibly can in that race.
Andrew Champagne of TVG. Again, you can follow him on Twitter at Andrew Champagne, giving us all we need to know for the Breeders' Cup. Andrew, thank you for the time, and hopefully we can catch up afterwards and we recap this whole year, and hopefully we can get an Eclipse Award for Chad Brown.
Thank you very much, Brian. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Andrew, for the time. Of course, thank you, everyone, for listening. Make sure you check out next week's show. We're going to have all the selections for Breeders' Cup Friday and Saturday. We're looking for Lafitte Pinkai as a guest as well for NBC. He's going to give us all the insight. Boots on the ground at Santa Anita. Looking forward to next week. It's Breeders' Cup time, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you get your programs, start studying, and, of course, we'll see you in the paddock.